Hey guys, and welcome back. In today's video, we're very fortunate to have a very special guest, Craig Cartier, who is an expert with over 12 years of experience teaching GMAT to students from the UK and all over the world. Craig's students are studying at business schools across America, Europe, Singapore, China, and India. And Craig is, in my humble opinion, is probably among the best GMAT tutors in the UK, if not in the world. So Craig, great to have you with us. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, no, great to be here. Thank you very much, Sunny.
Just by means of your background, and just to give a quick introduction to you, to our viewers. So Craig is from America and worked in telecom and consulting for a number of years before doing a 2.5-year MBA program at SADA in Spain, and then went back to telecom and consulting after the MBA before becoming a full-time tutor, which is what Craig has been doing for the last, is it 8 years you've been tutoring full-time now? Or?
Probably 12 years, Sunny.
12 years, yeah.
Yep.
So
full-time, yeah. So full-time over the last 6 years.
Craig, we're talking about GMAT today. So first of all, what is GMAT and what's the structure of the exam?
Yeah, thanks, Sunny. So the GMAT's an exam that you take for graduate school, but mostly for MBA programs, though some masters in finance and some other business-related programs will have students take the same exam. But the GMAT has 4 sections, the most important 2 of which are the quantitative and the verbal sections. It also has what's called an integrated reasoning section and an essay section. The most important 2 are the quantitative and the verbal, because that's really what schools pay the most attention to. You know, whenever you do an exam, you want to try to do well in all areas. But basically, the quantitative and verbal sections together make a score out of 800. The other 2 sections are scored separately. And it's that score out of 800 that schools are looking at the most closely.
Okay, and so if I'm applying, I want to go to Stanford Business School or HBS, what kind of score am I looking at?
So you've picked 2 of the most competitive schools in the world, effectively the 2 most competitive schools in the world. So for Stanford and Harvard, the bar is a little bit higher than probably most places. For a place that elite, you definitely want to score above 700, but their averages are going to be closer to the 730 to 750 range. But in general, they're a bit of an exception. At any school, you kind of want to look at about what the average GMAT score is. And just know this, there's definitely students that are at that school below that average. There's students above that average. What I encourage students to do is think of it as you're trying to make one of 2 pitches. You're either coming in saying, you know what, I've got a great story and my GMAT score is going to help out your average, and who can say no to that? Or you're saying, you know what, my GMAT's a little bit lower than your average score, but I'm going to be a great contributor to the class for, X, Y, and Z reasons. And just really try to, sell yourself along with the score, and keep in mind that the GMAT is just one element of your overall application. Yeah.
It's interesting what you're saying. When I worked at Harvard as part of my fellowship, I was allowed to sit in on any class at the university. I went and took a couple of classes at the business school, and definitely you get some students who super academic and super good with the GMAT, and they're there to study. Others pretty much come into business school to network and to have fun and maybe have 2 years off, and so they just about scraped a decent score. But score isn't everything, right? Because if they took you just on the basis of the score, then the elite schools will be full of students who maybe have a bit less character, a bit less of a story, and just have 780 plus on the GMAT.
Yeah, it's true. In the end, these schools aren't looking for just expert GMAT students. They're looking to build kind of a body of a student body that's going to lead to productive discussions in class, and just good networking, as you say. So. But I always think it's just good for you to put your best foot forward no matter what situation in life. So, do your best, put the work in. I always tell my students, you'll never regret putting a good effort into the GMAT. And at the very least, you'll be giving yourself a bit of a head start when it comes to the quant work you'll do in business school.
Yeah, definitely. And actually, a lot of the students that we've worked together in the past have said that just doing that intensive 3, 4, 6 months of study towards GMAT actually also helped them later in life with other transferable skills, either with their work or other stuff. Can you comment on that? Obviously, you would have more exposure.
Yeah, definitely. I think that, when it comes to the GMAT, it's not just testing, it tests a few different areas, but you're not looking at just testing, math, for example, or grammar. It's really designed to use maybe a math skill or a grammar skill to test how you systematically solve problems. And I think by practicing your ability to be systematic, your ability to understand, if I want to solve this problem, what kind of information do I need? Those are helpful skill sets. Now, don't get me wrong, some of those GMAT problems you will absolutely never use. And I promise my students that you never have to figure out, if there were 15 people at a restaurant and there were 4 tables of 3, how many ways you could sit there. You will never have to do that in real life. But solving problems systematically is a skill that you will use in business and in life.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, these days you probably wouldn't see a restaurant open anyway. So
that's a great point too. Yeah.
And you wouldn't have 15 people there.
How many ways can you organize a Zoom call with 15 people? That's
exactly. Yep. All right, Craig. And look, just sort of outside of generic advice, like do your best and make an effort. Are there any trends that you've identified that your top most improved students have in common? Maybe like top 3 takeaways or top 3 tips that you can share with us today?
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Sunny. I think the one, building on my last point, I think, is train yourself to work systematically through a problem. Meaning try to find the steps that are going to lead from problem to solution and execute those steps. It sounds simple, but just by kind of staying organized, it can really help your work. The second thing I would say is take advantage of chances to review. It's not just about doing different problems of any one type. Taking a step back to see, okay, why did I miss that problem? Not just, I got it wrong, I'm going to go on to the next one. Why did I miss that problem? What kind of step can I see that's going to help me in a similar problem type in the future? And don't underestimate the basics. I think that that's one mistake that I see often, that I see a lot of students working on some really high level problems that might be like an advanced geometry problem, or like with the 15 people at tables, an advanced combinatorics problem. When I look at students' tests and I see, what kind of problems are they missing? A lot of times it's not, a misunderstanding of the problem. It's, oh, I missed a negative sign here. Oh, I messed up a little bit of a exponent and root rule here. So I think really having the basics of algebra and arithmetic down at a level where you can almost do it without thinking, that can give you so much when it comes to the GMAT. And then the advanced stuff is icing on the cake.
No, that makes sense.
Yep. And sorry, just one more tip I would say is don't underestimate it. It's a tough test. So give yourself the time you need to prepare for it. Of course, that timeline is going to vary depending on your background, and just individual students will have different experiences. But it's a challenging test, so don't underestimate it. Give yourself the chance to prepare.
No, Craig, that's great advice. And in terms of the GMAT, so look, when you were preparing for the GMAT, before you did your MBA, did you have professional help, or did you fully sort of study yourself? And because I remember we had the conversation and you said that you found all the help out there was not quite up to scratch, or stuff was sort of disoriented, or kind of was focusing the wrong things, and that's kind of how you got into GMAT tutoring yourself.
Yeah, that's true. So, so my personal story, I came from engineering, which was basically, it was a quant heavy undergraduate that I did. There's a range of people doing the GMAT. They're going to expect more on the GMAT quant from an engineer like myself than they are from somebody with a marketing background. But at the same time, like I said, you always want to put your best foot forward. So because I had a pretty strong background anyway, I felt comfortable studying kind of with my own resources. But it was interesting. It's interesting you mentioned that, Sunny. I mean, there's it's just easy to find some mistakes out there. So if I pick on Kaplan just for one, I don't think you can go wrong when you pick a really big name brand like them. But frankly, I saw that some of their classes were basically using some real low level resources. They had, basically a script that the instructor would follow. And I just kind of, when I knew that about it, I felt like, well, I think I'll just get more out of studying on my own. So yeah, I really feel like a lot of the mass market options, probably helpful, probably doing a good job. But at the same time, I feel like they're not really as personalized and as accurate as what I'd like to see out of the market. So that's one reason why I got into GMAT tutoring on my own. And one thing that we're hoping to do with this class is just to give a really personalized individual experience that's also really motivational and is helping people get to where they want to go.
No, and to those of you who just joined us, Craig and I were chatting before this call, and Craig, I think the point you made was really struck me, that if you're motivated, if you have a ton of time, if you can experiment, if you're happy with sort of making mistakes, and then you have the time to kind of fail and learn on them, you can totally do it by yourself. And especially if you've watched this video, you're already ahead of the game, and you can improve on them. But if maybe you want to achieve more focused results in a shorter space of time, then a course or having some structure and some accountability will definitely help, right?
Yeah, 100%, Sunny. I'm glad you mentioned that because, the fact is, you can really prepare for this exam without a whole lot of extra help. But I guess in my mind, a tutor or a course really accelerates your study. I think the problem with watching a video online or maybe getting a book is the book and the video doesn't talk back to you, and it doesn't help you understand why you might be, going wrong on a problem. So yeah, I think a good tutor and a good course really helps you accelerate your study. In the end, you're the one taking the test. So nobody can join you in that. And that's why it's really important that it makes sense in your mind and you're able to do some of these problems without somebody looking over your shoulder. But yeah, I look at a good tutor or a good course as a way to accelerate that process and just get there more efficiently.
Yeah, fair enough. And Craig, look, if obviously we've known each other a long time, but you're running a course and the right ton of course is an option. So why would I as a student trust you with the course and give you my cash rather than park it with Kaplan or just a tutor I find myself or maybe another big company? I mean, what's so special about your course?
Sure. So I think that, basically I've been focused on a small set of exams. I basically teach 4 exams full time, including the GMAT. So what you're getting in this course is expert level support from a teacher that you just wouldn't get at one of the mass market companies. Typically, they'd be using lower level resources who maybe haven't done an MBA themselves, like I have, can talk about the experience, but also just the level of expertise for the price you're getting. There's no comparison in the market. And also we're looking to give a really individualized course. This course has, a target student in mind, but we're going to have a small intimate audience and we're looking to basically design this course around the needs of the students.
No, that's interesting. And you're not using instructors who also, for example, because lots of courses use a maths tutor who would teach maybe, high school maths with some SAT maths, with some maybe university maths or younger kids maths, and would also teach the, the quant section on the GMAT, but they're not really a GMAT expert per se.
Yeah, exactly. And I like to say the GMAT's not a math test, it's a reasoning test. So yeah, you need to know some math. Yeah, you need to know some English grammar, let's say, but there's also a huge component, which is test strategy. And yeah, working with me in this course, we'll be doing a lot of test strategy, and you're getting instruction from a real GMAT expert.
Great. Listen, I know some of our audience may have some questions. They may not, but just quickly, where do I find out more about this course and how can I sign up?
Yeah, so good question. So the course is planned for the weekend of March 19th through the 22nd. It's going to be 2 hours on a Friday and Monday of that weekend. So evening hours on Friday and Monday for those who might be working as well. And then 6 hours with a 30-minute lunch break on Saturday and Sunday. The course is going to be over Zoom, and we're going to have the link included with this video. Take a look at that link, and that's where you can find out some more information and sign up to the course.
Great, thanks. Yep. Listen, should we open this up for some question? Maybe someone else have any questions?
Yeah, that's great. And just feel free to ask questions about the application process in general, the GMAT itself, the course. Happy to support in any way we can as far as the questions you might have.